He at school looking up on the school computer.
I apologize for the police having to invade our home, and I apologize for the police having to put you, Dad, in handcuffs. I apologize, Cameron, for you having to deal with the situation the way that you did and having to see Dad get put in handcuffs. I apologize for lying on Dad and putting you in the situation that I put you in. I apologize, Mom, for running away and also having you to have to handle me and also the situation as well. I apologize for putting you in the position that I put you in.
At what point have we taught you to lie, to be deceptive, to be true? When have we taught you that?
Never.
So I do not typically do videos on developing stories. It's very rare. However, initially I wanted to do this video about parents disciplining their child on the internet because the child was looking up pew-pews. However, as I did a little bit of digging, the story became extremely disturbing. And we genuinely need to talk about this. What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for always supporting me. As you guys can tell by the intro as well as the title, we're going to be talking about Pastor McNugget. I'm not gonna name him that, but his name is Pastor McNutt, right? And Pastor McNutt is getting dragged and honestly being investigated for questionable behavior with his son. Now, I say son in quotation marks because technically this child we've been seeing going viral again and again with Pastor McNutt is actually his cousin, not his child. Now, this is a very interesting story. Like I said, right, I initially saw the video of the child being reprimanded for looking up pew-pews while he was in school, and you know, his parents forcing him to apologize, and I was gonna do my commentary on that. But then as I started digging, the story got really confusing and very disturbing, right? So let me just say straight up, I'm only going to talk about what's been confirmed. If something is a rumor or I cannot confirm it and I mention it anyway, I'm gonna let you guys know this is not confirmed. For those of you guys who have more context, please comment down below. Like I said, this is a developing story. Additionally, I may be popping in and out, and that's because like this shit right here is blowing my mind.
Nobody is going to do for you what we do for you. They think they know you. And they think, I get it, they protecting you. We're protecting you for real.
The allegation stated that Junior has been physically abused by T.D. McNutt. He had scratches covering his back, buttocks, and his legs due to T.D. McNutt hitting him on either November 25th or November 26th of 2025. T.D. McNutt smacked him in the face due to him washing the dishes incorrectly. He received a busted lip and bloody nose from the smack. The mother resides here locally, and it is unknown why he does not live with her. The rest of the family resides in Mississippi. We made contact with the counselor that called the incident in with DCF, and they stated that he was in her office in reference to a disciplinary issue, and Junior begged the counselor not to call the police. No, he begged the counselor not to call T.D. McNutt, which he refers to as Dad. When the counselor asked why she could not call him, Junior lifted up his shirt, and that's when the counselor saw all the marks on his back, and advised him that T.D. McNutt strikes him with the belt and with his hands. They then brought in the child and asked him about his living arrangements, and Junior stated that he lives with T.D. McNutt on the weekdays, and he lives with his mom on the weekends because his mom feels like he should be raised by a male figure. They checked the court records, and there is no court orders giving T.D. McNutt any custody of guardianship. When they asked Junior why he is getting physically disciplined by him, he stated that he was slapped in the face last Wednesday, the week before Thanksgiving. He said he was trying to wash the dishes and he put a plate up and and it was still dirty. This is when TD McNutt smacked him in the face. He was injured by the smack. It caused him to have a busted lip and a bloody nose. There was no visible injuries from the incident. Then they asked if he would lift up his sweatshirt and show his back. Junior complied. He had several marks that looked like they were scars, and one that was still open where it looked like outer skin tissue was missing from was trying to still heal. Asked Junior where these injuries were from. He said he got in trouble at school 2 weeks ago. When he arrived home after school, TD McNutt struck him multiple times in the back with a belt. The belt also struck his buttocks, arms, chest, and legs. There were marks and bruising all over his body, consistent with being struck with a belt. Junior was begging DCFS investigator not to call TD McNutt or his mother. He said once they find out what he said, they will beat him again. It must be noted that Junior wears long clothing to cover his injuries, and it is unknown if he's doing this on purpose or if it's just his style. The school has noticed a pattern that when the child gets in trouble at school, he's out of school for about 2 days and then he returns, and they believe that it's to give him time to heal from the physical punishment. When they made contact with TD McNutt, he said he doesn't know where the marks came from. They didn't come from him, and they told him it looked like the marks were consistent with the belt, and he blamed it on the other child in the house, saying, oh, they roughhouse all the time, so that's probably where he got it from. They read him his rights. He was arrested and taken into custody. The fact of this man trying to sit up here like a man of God, if you were such a man of God, when the police came to your door and asked you where he got these bruises from, you would have been honest and said, oh, I physically punished him for blah, blah, blah. But the fact that you lied lets us know that you know you were doing something wrong and you were trying to cover your ass, period.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday! You were 15. Hey, now! Hey. What's the bad boy? What you doing? That's right, go to sleep. Yeah. You feel something?
Of course, isn't and has never been sexually abused or anything like that. We were just tickling him, on his birthday, last year, year before last, whenever it was, However, I deeply apologize for the pain that you all have felt and the position that has put you all in. But please be assured, he's been well, and he's been protected and taken care of, all his life.
So for those of you guys who already know about the story, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Before we even get into the nitty gritty of it, I would like to say thank you for those of you guys who have been reaching out to me and congratulating me on finally founding my nonprofit. I've been wanting to start a nonprofit for years that would bring dance services to underprivileged youth and adults, and we finally did it. It is named LakayRo. Lakay means home in Creole, and Ro is short for my last name, Romilly, so basically House of Ro. For those guys who don't know, I go by Miss R or Coach R. I'm a dance teacher, or better yet, now I am a dance coach. So I was like, you know what? Let's just use my last name or whatever. Again, it is a nonprofit. I do own 2 additional businesses. The only reason I chose to make this a nonprofit was specifically because I would only be able to effectively serve the communities that I am targeting if it was a nonprofit. The goal is to eventually make all services free, because dance saved my life. Able to pay it forward in a positive way without sitting here thinking, oh, what revenue is coming in? What's the profit? What's this? What's that? So if you guys would like to support, everything you need is going to be linked down below. If you are in New Jersey, please be sure to show up to my classes starting in March. Every month, we're going to have a different genre. For this first set in March, we're going to be doing Konpa. So if you are interested, again, everything is going to be linked down below. If you're confused and you're seeing my face and you're like, what happened to the intro? What happened to the content? We do have multiple channels. Also, check that down below. And if you guys are interested in going to Brazil with me in July 2026, stop procrastinating. Y'all keep hitting me up like, oh, I'm going to get my stuff, and you didn't get your shit. Shout out to those of you guys who did. But for those of you guys who did not and you're still interested, here's a reminder. Please book your trip. So let's just get into the nitty gritty, right? You guys have been seeing this video more than likely just as much as I've been seeing this video, and it is quite disturbing, right? It is not only disturbing that they had the nerve, gall, audacity to put this child on the internet to apologize for something that is more than likely truly not his fault whatsoever, but it's disturbing when you get into the details of this nonsense, right? So I'm not going to say the child's full name, nor am I really going to show his face, simply because 1, he's a minor, 2, this is a disturbing situation, and 3, that goes into what I'm going to tell y'all before y'all go into the rest of this video. Trigger warning, okay? Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. This is a very sad story, and it's extremely heartbreaking, right? The kid you have all seen in this video, we're going to call him Q. I'm not going to tell you guys his full name. We're just going to call him Q. Now, Q's father is currently incarcerated. So Q's mother has decided to place her children with their pastor, also their cousin, so they can have a father figure. Now, this is actually not uncommon. As crazy as a lot of people think this is, and as weird as it sounds for many people, this is not uncommon. As a matter of fact, I actually had an ex, okay, like in like middle school, high school, that actually went through a similar situation. Things didn't go well because my ex was a vagabond, okay, like he was bad as shit. And he ended up getting placed into the system in the end of it all. And that's kind of what might happen in this situation, but not necessarily because the kid is bad or dizzled or vagabond, but mainly because of what ensued next, right? So Q went to his school and he basically told the school, like, listen, things aren't good at home. He alleged abuse, and this alleged abuse or report of abuse led to Pastor McNugget. Okay, I'm going to keep that name. Okay, Pastor McNugget actually being arrested. Now, this became an entire situation because obviously a pastor being arrested, especially with allegations of abuse, is going to make headlines. For whatever reason, what's really going around is the child being reprimanded for looking up, pew-pews. But the entire story, okay, from what is confirmed is actually disturbing because the child made this report and the pastor was arrested, but he was then let off, okay, in a way, well, at least for now, let off. And they made this child get on the internet to apologize for reporting the pastor.
I apologize to the both of you all for not being a good son. And I apologize to everyone else as well for not being who I should be and for being a follower and not a leader.
This is off of Pastor T.D. McNutt's Facebook page. I made a video on this boy the other day and how he was forced in front of thousands of viewers to take back what he said about his father abusing. His father forced him to sit there and lie and say, oh, I wasn't abused. The whole time he was, the stepfather was arrested and charged with assault. Then I go through Buddy's page and he has him laying up in the bed in multiple videos with only underwear on. I'm hearing from multiple other sources that he wets the bed still at his grown age. He's 15, 16 years old. There's obviously some sick shit going on in that house if he is still wetting the bed at this age. I feel bad even airing his business out, but clearly the system doesn't want to help him, so it's up to everybody else to bring awareness to his situation so that he can hopefully get some help.
You're a great father. I love you so much. You love me like I was your own biological child. You're always protecting me from anything that'll damage my mind or me physically.
Apostle, I love you, and you are stellar. You are the best person I know. You are incomparable.
T.D. McNutt, there is only one you in the earth, and you are truly irreplaceable. Thank you, Apostle, for who you are in my life and all that you have done to help me transform into who God has called me to be. Under your leadership, Apostle, I have learned how to forgive. I have learned how to honor relationships and mend broken relationships. I have learned, Apostle, how to love people the right way with a godly love. I have learned not to be biased or to be judgmental. You have taught me so much. Thank you for all the wisdom, all the revelation, all the sacrifices, all the sowing, all of your time. Nothing has gone unnoticed, and I appreciate you, Apostle, for all that you are in my life.
So then the devil don't just want him, the devil want all of us.
Sasayela, he's giving a cult. Like, damn, blink twice if you're in trouble. What the hell?
Now, let me just say, right, this is disturbing. It's disturbing. It's ridiculous, and it's insanely problematic because not only did he get forced to apologize, like I'm telling you, this is like an hour-long video. Like I've only put little bits and pieces and snips, but again, so much footage, so many, things going on here. They made the child apologize, and then obviously now he's back with his alleged abusers. Now, the thing is with this, right? People on the internet clock this real quick. Now, I'm not going to go to the extent of saying this child is being touched inappropriately because we cannot confirm, nor can we deny. And the fact that we cannot deny is what's making this situation way worse than anything. The body language in the videos, the interactions between him and his mother and his cousin father pastor, as well as the other brother, is just making everyone look like what the fuck is actually going on. The children seem to have drawn on arched eyebrows, which indicates that more than likely this is being done to make them look more feminine. And you guys already know what rabbit hole we're about to go down there. There's a lot of people that are alleging. Now, personally, I'm not going to make that big of an assumption and that big of a stretch off of a few clips, right? The general consensus and assumption is that more than likely he may be doing something more inappropriate with these children. The mom basically sold her kids, or is just so blissfully unaware because he's a pastor and is not protecting her children effectively. And this has prompted further investigation, and allegedly this child is no longer in the care of Pastor McNutt, right? Now, I say alleged for that whole last bit because I could not 1,000% confirm it. Additionally, I cannot confirm or deny that he is touching these children. Although it is an inference, right, based on context clues and body language, it's not far-fetched, but again, we do not know.
On the Pastor T.D. McNutt situation, Cameron's sister has spoken out. She says Cameron is her half-brother. She knows things that she shouldn't, and she's getting irritated because her half-brother is not the same as the person before. Now, someone in my comments asked her, what are your thoughts on this? Is Cam, and why is he living with the pastor? Where is his parents? Now, she said, let me say this. Cam is not, at least she hopes he's not. Now, back then, he was very curious about sexual things and ended up touching her in inappropriate ways, which is why he went down to Florida to get counseling to begin with, but clearly that's not the case. She said, we have only seen him 3 times with him being down in Florida, and each time he got more and more strict, almost as if he was in a box, or behaved as if he was a behaved dog on a shock collar. She says, me and him have the same father, and my father is devoted to this man's church. She says, my mom, on the other hand, does not support any of this and refuses to see anyone down at that church. She says his mother, on the other hand, is also that pastor's cousin, but claims Cameron as his son, along with Junior as his son, which is really confusing. My thoughts on this is simple. Cameron has been there for years and is going to college, and that man is paying for it. He is indeed grooming them and paying for things so that they don't have a chance to get away. Junior's mother was a drug addict, and the pastor paid her way to get help. In order for her to stay clean and stay getting help, her son is down there, not by the son's choice, but so she can have the money to help herself, not really focus on if her son is okay. Please spread the word. They are getting abused down there. It's really sad that this pastor not only has a fake doctor degree, but has a history of assault on men. Keyword men. And I don't have official records to see what exactly the assault was or what exactly the case was. I know y'all can figure that out on your own or find it on your own. And she said, but this is what I've been hearing on Facebook, Instagram, and mainly TikTok. So that is why I'm reaching out on here. Please save that little boy. They're going to be in Peoria, Illinois soon.
When a young boy was, I'm guilty. The first thing I'm guilty of is when a young boy was, I think some 4 or 5 years young, I'm guilty of seeing the calling of God on his life. He was sitting on the bed in a hotel room. I think this was, when there was a funeral going on, and I went into the bedroom, went into the hotel room, and he was sitting there with this bright, shiny glow all over him. And I was scared to touch him. I was so scared to touch him. I was so scared of him, God, because of the radiance that was on him. And so then I never thought, in a million years, that I would be given the opportunity to help raise this child, glory to God's name. That's my son, Junior. I'm guilty of loving him. I'm guilty, glory to God's name, of stepping in place, glory to God's name, of a father, a dad to him, glory to God's name, and helping build his character, build his life, put him in a position to where he has no wants, glory to God's name. He doesn't lack for nothing, glory to God's name. I'm guilty, glory to God's name, for loving him to life, glory to God's name. And I'm guilty of talking to his father and saying, man, I want to help. How can I help? Glory to God's name. I'm guilty of all that you've done to my son. I heard all that you've done to my son, and I thank you. And so then, Senior lets me know that, he doesn't There's others that have asked to even adopt, Cornaro Jr., and he said he would never do it, glory to God's name. But he gave me permission to adopt Junior, glory to God's name. But I never did. I never went to the courthouse and never got with my attorneys, glory to God's name, though, the process had begun to actually make that happen. But I'm guilty of loving, glory to God's name, what was then, glory to God's name, a little boy.
Remember when R. Kelly made that song called I Admit It, I Admit It, I Admit It, and he was just talking about all the shit that he done did. And he was basically like admitting to committing crime. This is what this is giving. This is the most weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life, bro. Like, and this also goes into that whole thing, right? Like he said in another video, like, oh, like, I'm not gonna let this define me, like, y'all don't know me type shit. And it's like, see, niggas wouldn't be in your business if you didn't put your business on the internet. This is why, like, a lot of people opt to not post certain things because people are going to make inferences and different opinions based off what you post. Like, let's say all of this is inaccurate and incorrect. Maybe these children are 1,000% safe, but it's not what it's looking like, allegedly. He just won't shut up. I've never seen such a clout chasing ass pastor like this. Like, this nigga is enjoying this. He's enjoying this limelight. Even negative, even though it's negative, he's just, I guess all publicity is good publicity for the church. You gonna track all the people that got problems like yours. I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say something, but I'm allegedly.
On a Pastor T.D. McNutt situation, here's what we know so far about Junior being in the care of someone else. Now, 16 hours ago, Jedediah Brown posted on his Facebook that Junior is in the care of a co-worker of his mother, and he seems well, but we know that everyone who had access still has it now and aren't satisfied with this report. The father's side still has no contact, and the investigation continues. What I don't get is why they are still allowing Junior's mother to still have a say-so in where he's being placed at this point. Because if you ask me, I feel like the father side is safer than going with who the mother pick and chooses.
Take care of your fucking kids. I said what I said, I meant what I said, and I'll say it again. Y'all need to take care of your fucking kids. This shit's starting to blow my shit. Why is he in the care of a coworker?
Now, of course, I don't even need to talk about the fact that you should not be dragging your children on the internet and posting it. Like, that's something I talk about ad nauseum all the time on this channel. But it's just really heartbreaking that it seems like the system has failed this child. Whether they are in their custody or not right now, the fact of the matter is we always tell children, tell an adult. Right? Tell your school, tell the counselor, tell your therapist or whatever what's going on. They will help you. They will protect you. But in this case, he went, told, got him arrested. He gets out and he gets placed back with the fuckers. Like, that is crazy to me. And that's why I don't really be blaming people when they don't want to say something, right? Or they don't want to speak out, especially children, because basically you're telling these children that their woes and tribulations and their alleged abuse is not something that needs to be looked into. You're telling these children that basically you're lying or it's not that serious. And of course, technically, that's not what we're saying, right? Technically, that's not what happened, but that's what the actions show. If a child comes to you and they say, listen, I'm being touched inappropriately, or I'm being abused, or I'm being hit, or I'm afraid for my life, or whatever the case may be, under those lines, your job is to protect them, especially as a mandated reporter. Now, realistically, this counselor did their job, but at the same time, there's levels to this, right? I feel like a lot of people, right? If you guys are not aware, I had a school. I've always worked in schools. I work with different nonprofits and stuff like that as well. And we're always mandated reporters, whether you're a teacher, you're a coach, you're whatever, you work with kids, more than likely you're a mandated reporter. But I feel like there's a lot of adults that don't care about kids and they work with kids, which is crazy. I feel like working with kids is not something you should be doing just for a check. Working with kids is something you should genuinely love and be passionate about, even if you don't, I guess, love the kids that you work with per se, but it should be something that you take extremely seriously because, again, you're dealing with the well-being of these children and you are, again, a mandated reporter. In this essence, I feel like there's a lot of people that work with kids that genuinely don't give a fuck that they work with kids. I feel like a lot of them do their job and then that's it. They don't follow up. They don't make sure. They don't ensure that these children actually get a positive or a safe outcome, so to speak. It's not just about reporting. It's not just about, oh, let me tell such and such this so this gets rectified. It's about okay, is this child safe now? Is this child going to be able to function normally after this, because this is a crazy situation? Is this child going to end up in a worse situation because I reported this? And I feel like that's a lot of reason a lot of people don't, right? Especially for those of us that work with children, a lot of us don't be wanting to say nothing because it's like, damn, is the situation going to be worse if they're put in the foster care system? Damn, like, is the situation going to be worse if I open my mouth and I say something's happening to this child and it's not really happening? We're always told to report regardless. If we have any inkling or sense that a child is in danger, we are supposed to report it, right? But there's reasons why someone might not, right? And I think this is part of the reason why some might not, while some of them don't follow up, some of them choose not to, and some of them just, well, I reported it, that's it. This is not okay. This child should not have been put on camera to sit here and apologize to their abusers about reporting the fucking abuse. Like, parent or not, guardian or not, cousin or not, pastor or not. Okay, this is just an extremely unfortunate situation. And to be quite honest with you, like, I feel like I keep getting different details every 2 seconds. Every time I click on Instagram or TikTok, and it's breaking my heart again and again and again, because these children are not safe. I'll say that, right? I will say that definitively, these children are more than likely not safe, regardless of the rumors of the grooming allegations and all of that. Like, something's going on here. And the fact that they had the nerve, gall, audacity to put the child on the internet, to sit there and apologize for what was happening to them, is insanity. Like, there's marks on the child, okay? Visible marks. And even if, right, like, say if the kid was lying, it doesn't matter. Like I said, there's marks on the child. And it's crazy because I see a lot of adults, okay, especially on my videos, like when I do videos around these topics, parents, okay, like legit people that are parents to children, okay? It's talking about, so, well, kids be lying. Why would a child lie about abuse? Why would a child lie about you or someone touching them? That is one of the most vile, most heinous things one can accuse someone of. And I know vindictive children. I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen vindictive children. I know some vindictive children here and there. But even if that's the case and the child's lying, what is it that you did to that child to make them lie on you like that? Children hate multitudes of different people, okay? Or don't like, okay? They don't like certain people in their classes. They don't like certain adults, that they're forced to be around. But to sit there and lie and say, like, hey, this person touched me, knowing that it's going to bring a lot of different things, that is like, that's extremely unlikely. And even if it is, we need to look at, why would a child lie about that? And why are they now being forced to say that they lied about that? Like, there's so many things, right? I want you guys to always understand not everything is as it seems. A lot of times when you see these influencers and these public figures and these creators and these pastors and these politicians or whatever saying things or making people make responses or, just doing extra shit, a lot of times it's not what it seems. There's always an underlying cause. There's always an underlying story. There's always something behind it. And in this case, I really hope these motherfuckers get brought to justice. I hope this child really is not in the care of these fuckers. And I say that with my chest, because this is audacious, okay? It's fucked up and it's heartbreaking, because especially when it comes to our Black boys, nobody's there to protect them. I feel like a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say in this video as a whole, but in this part in particular, I feel like the emphasis is always on girls, right? Oh, these men are predators. Oh, protect the girls. But a lot of times we fail to remember that, one, women are predators too. And two, a lot of times these boys are unprotected. Okay, a lot of times we don't think about the boys. A lot of times there's so many dangerous factors and dangerous people around these boys, and that's what makes them the most vulnerable, because we're so worried about, oh, the girls, protect your daughters, hide your wife, hide your daughters, the girls, but we forget the boys. Okay, the boys are just as important. They deserve to be protected as well. They do not need to be taken advantage of. They should not be silenced in this way. And this is the perfect example of why a lot of men refuse to speak up or show emotion or, honestly advocate for themselves at such a young age, and how they end up being the way they are today. Aloof, estranged, uncomfortable, hard to express their feelings, narcissistic, abusive themselves. Like, this is where this comes from. Do you know how many people, okay, how many men I know brag about being abused? And you guys are like, what? What do you mean? You ever heard, and I think every woman watching this might actually know a man like this, okay? Regardless of your ethnicity or your race. I know every single one of you guys know a man that more than likely brags about or is happy or is content with the fact that they more than likely lost their V card to an older woman. That is abuse. That woman is a pedo. If you're 15 and you were fucking a 19-year-old, that woman should have been in jail. We have such a fucked up society, right? In which we have boys out here bragging about having sex with adults. It's weird. And I feel like, you know, a lot of what I said has a lot to do with the fact that we're always so like, oh my God, protect the girls. What about the boys? Okay, a lot of these boys are forced to think that that's cool, forced to think that that's a bragging right, forced to think that, oh, it's okay that this woman touched me inappropriately. It's okay that this woman did this or did that. It's okay that, like, no, it's actually not. Okay, it's actually not. You got men out here that's bigging this up. You got men out there that are purposely finding older women to sleep with their kids. Some of them who are famous. Let me not name no names. We talked about that before. It's disturbing. It really is. These boys need to be protected just as much as these girls need to be protected, because we're always telling women, right? Choose better, do better, but the men need to be better. But the men can't be better if they weren't better boys, right? If they weren't being taken care of, if they weren't being taught how to be good boys, if they didn't have father figures, if they weren't being taught the wrong things, if they weren't being told that it's a bragging right to be abused. Like, let's be real. Like, we really need to have an honest conversation about this. And like I said, this is a developing story, so I more than likely am gonna have to come back with an update. But it is truly disturbing, and the overall message I want you guys to understand is protect your boys, protect your girls, protect the children. If you think you see something, do something about it, report it, do whatever it is in your power to protect these children. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Again, we do have multiple channels. Make sure you guys check everything out down below. Subscribe to your heart's desire. A lot of you guys always commenting like, oh my God, I was unsubscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. For those of you guys who have been congratulating me on the nonprofit, merci en pile. Thank you so very much. Again, I'd love to see you in the classes. If you'd like to leave a donation, again, everything is going to be linked down below. Those of you guys interested in coming to Brazil with me, July 2026, make sure you guys do so. Follow me on Instagram, join the free Discord, because it's free to follow me on Instagram and it's a free Discord. For those of you guys on the Patreon or any of the memberships on this channel or on my Haitian channel, thank you so very much. And shout out to those of you guys who do all of it. The fuck? You outside. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you for always being there. And with that being said, I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye.